Welcome to Season 5 of John McGivern's Main Streets. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of your favorite TV show. Now it's time to get the inside scoop of this week's episode with your hosts, John and Emmy, Main Street's producer and director Lois Maurer, and this week's content producer.
It's the John McGivern Main Streets podcast. I'm John McGivern. I am here with our producer Lois and my co-host Emmy and Evan, who is the producer of this episode. And we're talking about the west coast of Wisconsin.
Which everybody thinks we made up.
Right.
But they really do market it like that, don't they, Evan?
Yeah. Well, first of all, great to be back. We came up with this one. Emmy suggested this one.
Except you were going to call it the Great River Road, remember?
Yeah.
Which is really how they marketed things
It's
prior
a longer,
to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Great River Road is really long, right?
Right.
And it goes all the way down the Mississippi. It's in Minnesota. It comes over in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Keeps going down.
Many
Iowa.
towns.
Yeah. So it's a different. It's longer, and what these communities have done is they've banded together. There are 5 of them in a common marketing effort, and it's around Lake Pepin. Okay, how many of you knew Lake Pepin wasn't a lake?
Wasn't a lake?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I
Did
knew
you
of
know
Lake
that?
Pepin, but I
Yes.
didn't know it wasn't a lake.
And did you know it wasn't a lake?
When I started researching the episode, I found out, but I
Right.
didn't know anything about it
It's
before
the
that.
Mississippi River.
Yeah.
It's just like a little inlet of the Mississippi River, right?
It's not even an inlet. It's
It's like a stretch of it.
like a stretch of the river that bows out into the shape of a lake, so it's really wide, and it's something about the currents, right?
Yeah.
The currents are still enough, and it's deep enough. It's got a trench in the bottom of it, I guess, and it's deep enough that it behaves like a lake, not a river. So the Lake Pepin has been its name for this, but people do misconceive that all the time.
Yeah. And we learned all about that thanks to you, Evan, because we were sent to the Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance, remember?
It was
They took us
great.
out on the boat and really showed us. So in research, you found them, I'm sure.
So the Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance is a organization that the lake's all silted up, right? All the sediments
Yep.
got shoved into places it shouldn't be by the currents, and they're basically digging it back out.
Dredging some.
Yeah.
Because all those natural wildlife areas need intervention to stay natural and wild. And they had some major equipment out there. They're building islands. They're building islands so that the water will flow differently. It's just a fascinating science.
And doesn't this area also really market toward like being a birding community because of this
Oh, yeah.
landscape? I mean, I think that's all part of it too, is it's such a great habitat for so many different bird species.
Yeah. Actually, when we were planning the episode, some people said that some of these areas they've talked about turning into state parks, but they're worried that they would become so popular that everything would just get trampled. So they're kind of letting it stay the way it is, and people who know and can go and enjoy it without,
Right.
drawing too many crowds that would change what makes it so special.
So we decided to put it on TV and tell
Yeah.
everybody about it and talk about it. I'm not sure they're going to be thrilled with this episode, but we thought it was really fascinating. And, we're very average people, so we think if we're interested, other people will be interested.
5 communities that are on the Mississippi River on the western shore of Wisconsin, really, on the Mississippi River. And I love that you said, well, it's one of the small towns. One of the small towns. Stockholm is a town of 78. It was like, wait, 78? Are we talking to all of them today?
Right.
But in the summer or in the fall or in the spring when
Yes.
people make their way, because it's a real tourist destination for people, they say, from people from the Twin Cities, come down to the western shores of Wisconsin. And
the people from La Crosse go up, and the
Right.
people from Eau Claire come over, but it's all day trippers.
day trippers.
Now
yes.
that I thought was fascinating,
We
because
could
there's
tell
not.
because of the
The
because of-
accommodations?
the accommodations were limited.
Right.
So we stayed in a hotel, which was fine. Of course, it was in Pepin, and it was central to what we needed to do. But it wasn't like there were a lot of choices for where we could stay.
Okay,
unless
there weren't a lot of choices because you vetoed them. Don't you remember?
Oh yeah, we had an Airbnb all lined up.
Oh my gosh, yes, there's so much.
No Airbnb, no B&B, no I'm sharing a bathroom with my coworkers. No. You get to an age and you get to a time in life where it's like, hey, let's bunk together. It's not going to happen.
Lois and I would have definitely
You should
bunked
have.
together.
You should have put me at the Pep Inn, come pick me up. Because I'm not living with you guys.
And it was all good. It was all fine. I'm just saying, if you want to go to the West Coast, there are places to stay. There's a lot of Vrbo and a lot of, Airbnb.
And the houses are beautiful because they're
gorgeous.
all,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of them are from the 19th century. And
Right. So don't be afraid to visit
Yeah.
because of accommodations. There are some really nice accommodations. It's just that hotels aren't plentiful because it is they're all real small towns. You imagine trying to get somebody to work at a hotel. you
Yeah.
know?
Right,
That's
right.
got to be hard for them.
So John said Stockholm, a town of 78 people. Tell me how the Stockholm Pie Company then becomes the #1 pie shop in America,
In America.
now for multiple years in a row.
Yeah.
Because they got good pie.
Alan
pretty
is
simple.
doing something well there. I mean,
Describe this kitchen that makes the best pie in the world.
It's the size of a car. And not even like an SUV, like the size of a sedan. It's tiny.
It's
and
tiny?
they make all of these pies day in and day out.
Handmade.
Handmade.
There's not a mixer in the place. Do you remember that? They make the dough all by hand.
I was like, there's a mixer somewhere around here, is what I kept thinking.
Honest to
Until I
goodness.
met the head baker who was like, ooh, no.
She was serious. They are
Seriously.
serious about their pie, and it's upstairs. So their kitchen is like you have to go through it's in an old building that used to be like a general store or
Right.
something like that.
then it
And
was
the
like
kitchen
the
is like up the
community center.
stairs.
Oh,
There's
right.
there's like a 1950s gym upstairs.
Yes, yes, and
Where
now
they-
that's becoming an event space, right?
That's where they're going to host their sock hops.
Right.
and eat their pies. The pie was delicious.
And
I had the coconut cream.
We had 4 pieces,
Oh,
4
you
different pieces.
little-
what was the one we were so surprised about? It was a flavor that we were like, no, wait a minute.
I'm not sure.
Sour cream,
Oh, that was-
raisin sour cream.
Oh, that was good.
I just never heard of it before, and I was like, oh, and that's like,
Oh,
here, just
yeah.
take a bite.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I like when you taste the crust of a piece of pie and it is bursting with butter. You don't have to wonder how much butter was in there. You just want to taste the butter right away to know that there is a plentiful amount of butter in the crust.
Yeah.
And that's what they have going on.
And
So
they
buttery.
intentionally did not get into the online market. They secondhand their stuff through. It's a catalog where you can order like the finest of, and this is countrywide. I mean, this is across the U.S. You can order very specialty goods from small makers, and Stockholm Pie is in there, and that's how they get their stuff all the way across the country. But they've decided they're not going to do it direct themselves because that's not their business. Their
too much work.
business is to make pies one at a time. and
Up
let
in
you
that tiny
enjoy.
little kitchen. Whew.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
But the vibe there is really good, and they have good sandwiches now and good lunch, and it's packed out.
It was busy in the middle of the week and
Yeah.
in the middle of the day.
Alan just does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
He does.
Thank you, Alan, for convincing us that the west coast of Wisconsin is a real place, and we loved it.
Alan's the best.
But
Okay,
do
it
you
truly is
remember
incredible.
when we met Alan?
Yes.
He was at the Governor's Tourism, the conference that's called the Wisconsin
Governor's Conference on
on
Tourism.
And he came up to us because Emmy and I and John go and, kind of represent the show. And he came up to us and talked all about it. It turns out that Alan is also really the guy that came up with the West Coast moniker and who markets that whole area.
Right. I mean, it's similar to, we know people in all of these communities, right? They wear more than one hat,
Yes.
especially in the small communities where you're like, yes, I need to make the pie, but yes, I also need to rename the cities, and we need to,
Yes.
because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Which is really cool.
I think that pretty much all the 78 people that live in Stockholm also work in
Yeah.
Stockholm. You know what I mean? Those are their stores. That
Right.
is their main street. That is,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of pride there.
You guys had some fun stops. You were talking about the Honey Hill apiary.
I think
Tell
that could have
me.
been my favorite. I think that might have been my favorite segment.
Tell me more.
Well, first of all, you know what an apiary is?
Yes.
Bees.
Which I was a little freaked out thinking about it concept-wise because I've never been stung in my life.
Which I still
That's
can't grasp.
incredible.
I know.
Either
That's
have
me not
I.
thinking I would. You haven't either?
But I mean, I don't have as
So-
many decades under my belt as you, but that's impressive.
Grandpa's never been stung.
But I will tell you, it's something to consider when we're doing these segments because it's like, we don't know how you'll react. What if you are hyper
That's a good point.
allergic?
We need an EpiPen in the car, just
They
in
had
case.
EpiPens at the,
They
we
did.
did check that out.
Well,
They
and
had
of course, they
EpiPens.
outfitted us with all the beekeepers, sort of every. I mean, there wasn't a moment of me that was that they could have stung me. Like these bees could not have stung me unless they stung me through my shoe or boot
Okay.
that they put on. But we did.
They did not sting you. However,
Gail, who is our audio person and has been with us forever, she didn't think she should wear the beekeeper bonnet
because she was going to stand back a little bit.
she stood back 5 feet. And I said, the bees were like, look at that stupid girl. They went, stung her on her lips. 2 bees.
Twice.
This is so Gail, though. She's like, of course, I want to be one with the apiary.
It was stupid. She got stung, and then the beekeeper took the stingers out of her lips, which Gail enjoyed, I think. It was like, there was a small bee stinger operation going on after the sting. And then for the next 3 days, Gail was like,
She had big duck lips.
big, plumped, like model lips.
Like, we were like, did you have a procedure? Oh, no, bees. Not the bees.
Do you remember when I walked into the restaurant the next day? You guys were like, look at Gail, look at Gail. Do you notice something different? Do you notice something different? I'm
You
like,
like
I'm looking at
haircut?
her like, is her hair even shorter than it was last time? I don't, what? Look at her lips, look at her lips.
Oh my God.
Because she just looked so foreign to us. She was a real trooper, though, right? And she just, I'm telling you, it's like it happens to her all the time. She's the
No,
one who.
it does.
It does. She's the one who we were shooting an episode of Around the Corner, and a bat during the day landed on her and bit her. She had to have an entire series of rabies injections.
Did she say no to the bat costume that somebody offered her?
She said, no, there was no, I'm telling you, horses, we were at a place where they, remember in Kenosha, and she's walking around, this horse just kept coming up behind her, nipping her, and nipping
No,
her.
wanting her. No, it was
Interested.
weird. It was interested in Gail.
If
I'm
there's
like,
a dog,
whoa, Nellie. What is going on with you and that damn horse? It was bad.
They have a history.
dogs come running to her. I mean, I'm telling you, I get being attractive to animal life, but okay, you got to draw the line at bees, Gail. Close your mouth and put the hood on.
Put the bonnet on, Gail.
Now, do you think if she goes back to another apiary for the show, she's going to
She's
refuse?
worried about not being able to hear.
But I didn't understand that because the headphones are on your head and the thing's over the top of that.
You did say that too. I was like, Lois is making a lot of
Mama knows best.
I think she would do it the same way. I think she would say, I'm fine. If the bees want to sting me, let the bees sting me. I can see her saying that, can't you?
Well,
All I can tell you, though, is that segment was so great because the people who own that apiary
so cool.
are the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
And it all started because the guy who runs it, Doug, started a 4-H project when he was a kid and asked his dad if he could have bees. And his dad was like, well, all right, because they're farm people, right? And so
Sure.
he didn't want to do the same old cow or the same old goat.
Pig.
And so he asked for bees, and he got them. And then within a year, his dad ordered more bees because now he liked them. And now this apiary, they create so much honey, and they have so many bees that during the
400 hives.
in the winter, they ship them to California to pollinate the almond industry. And then they get their bees back again. I mean, it's an
I
actual
can't wait
industry.
to watch this segment.
Oh,
He
it is so
sounds
great.
phenomenal. And sometimes I
She-
think you know where your life is going to lead you. And if you follow the right signs, like Doug,
Well,
he's like, yeah, I want to do
daughter,
this.
Hannah, is absolutely astounding. She's a nurse, but she's really involved in the apiary, and she's amazing. I mean, this
Yeah.
family was the nice, like, you know, you talk about meeting the nicest people.
Right.
They were just absolutely fantastic. And then they helped Gail get stingers out of her mouth.
They found the queen. So they they dug inside one of these bee boxes, one of the hives,
Yeah.
and were like, where did that queen go? I'm like, how are you going to find the queen in this hive of tens of thousands of bees?
Yes.
And they found it. They were like, oh, here, come here. Let me.
Just to
Here,
point
I'm
it
I'm
out to
like,
you.
oh my God, that's a pretty queen. Let's go.
Right.
Put the queen back.
Right. And because when I got into town, you guys were so enthralled in this segment. You guys taught me a lot about the queen.
Oh,
and
I'm
like
telling you.
how they become the queen, and
Hey.
it was
Not the same way you did, but
it's so fascinating.
Yeah, it was good.
yeah, that's talk about learning a lot.
Sounds like it was the place to be.
Oh,
You have been
wow.
waiting so long to say that.
So
Thank
nice.
you, Evan.
Evan, I don't know if it's your cool socks or the cardigan, but I'm happier when you're around.
Oh, thanks, Emmy.
I mean it.
We did something called cultural cloth. Oh my Lord.
That was such a story. You want to go to Guatemala with me?
You want to go?
Yeah, I do. So this business, Cultural Cloth, was started by two women, Marianne and Jody,
Right.
and they are also artists. And they're very connected to cultural kind of art, ethnic kind of arts. They're world travelers. And they would meet artisans along the way and say, you know what, you come from a place of representing your culture and your ethnicity so beautifully. We want to bring this back to the States and help you guys at the same time. So what they do is they take the temperature of what it is they're making there and create a market for it in the U.S. And this has grown now where they have said, okay, in the U.S., people will buy rugs, people will buy blankets. What is it that we could get you to sell? And they incorporate that ethnic art into what it is that they can bring back. And by doing this, they go to the places. And Guatemala is one of the places that I believe they started this. And the women there make rugs. They now do a class, so you could go, I could go with my friends, I could go with my family and spend a week in Guatemala to learn how to make the rugs the same way they do and really absorb their culture and understand how it is that these women live and create those bonds that is much more than a rug that you purchase there.
And they do this globally. They go
Yes.
all over the world. And a
India.
lot of it is fabric
Yes.
art.
Yes,
So
right.
there's a lot of, there's, as you said, blankets and rugs and clothing and jackets and sweaters.
And a lot of textile
A
stuff.
lot of textile art is what it
Yes.
is. And then they have this beautiful store.
They have this gorgeous store in Maiden Rock that is like something out of a magazine.
And they have their second store in Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, on
Right.
Silver Spring. So they have two stores.
But it all started in Maiden Rock because that's where they're from.
Right.
And this shop is very approachable. Like sometimes I think people think of this kind of art and they're kind of standoffish a little bit. They're kind of like, oh, well, that's not for me. You walk in there and immediately you will find 12 things that you have to take home with you.
Yep.
It's just gorgeous stuff.
I bought stuff on our site survey.
Did you?
Yeah, I've been dying to go back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you been to the Whitefish Bay here in Milwaukee?
No.
I bought a rug that's ended up in my kitchen that is just a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I'm like, oh, I'm walking on it? I should really hang it, is
No,
what I
but
should do.
that's what it's intended for.
Yeah.
You're using it as the artist intended, and doesn't it just bring you joy to see it?
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But what
Beautiful.
a wonderful project that they have there. And really, that is the kind of business that makes me happy to be able to cover on our show because it's just good. It's just good at heart. You know, I mean, it's
Right.
just so
Yeah.
solid and just beautiful stuff.
Oh, you guys, I got the warm and fuzzies now. That's sweet.
What did you get to do in
What
the West
did
Coast
I
of
get to do?
Wisconsin?
Well, there's not even like a segue from that kind, sweet story to, the story about the lady falling to her death.
Okay,
that
now
I
this became-
really wanted to scratch, that nobody would let me scratch, because I think this show should be all really wonderful stories like what you just got done telling.
Okay, this is a wonderful, the Maiden Rock story. John, you know the story of the
It's
Maiden Rock?
heartbreaking.
Because along that area...
It's a very sad story, Lois.
Thank you.
Shut up.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Not sad.
Thank you
It's
for
a
banding
legend,
together.
Okay, this is a legend.
Yeah.
It's called Maiden Rock because in this area there are a lot of indigenous peoples, a lot of the Native American legends still live there. Now, whether this Native American princess actually lived or not is debated because this is a legend, right? And it's a long time. And the town did get its name because the story goes the Native American princess was in love with a young warrior whose family did not approve. And so her family arranged a marriage with a different man, an older man, and her true love got sent off to live someplace else, and she was going to marry this man. She went through with the ceremony and was a good daughter, but the night of the wedding, she disappears.
She
disappears.
She took her vows, she married him,
And then
but then
she-
during the party,
She left.
she found a way out.
And nobody could find her, nobody knew where she was, and the next morning, they found her at the bottom of what is now known as Maiden Rock. She threw herself to her death rather than marry someone she didn't love. So this is a story about naming rights and true love, Emmy. What's not good about that?
Oh, it's so sad.
Is it a true story?
No,
We
it's a
don't
legend.
even know. And we don't know if the rock that she jumped off of is truly the rock. See, there are holes in this story, John.
Well, I like The Little Mermaid. Have you ever seen that? Come on!
I think I texted Evan saying, Evan, isn't there a VFW bar that you can send me to instead of telling this sad, sad Dakota Sioux story? He's
I
like,
thought
no.
it's a wonderful legend.
I bet her husband was like, wow, I must be a loser.
Totally. He's like, what did I do? It's been all of like 5 hours.
Wow.
I'm keeping the gifts.
Thing it was never about him.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm keeping the gifts.
it's a great place to go visit.
Okay, speaking of keeping the gifts in weddings,
Yes.
this is another thing in the West Coast. There are becoming these wedding venues up there that are very popular. They are coming into their own, and this is a destination place now for weddings. You don't live there and get married, you go there to get married. And Woods and Company is a place that you just, I don't know, you have to see it. I hope you all watched the episode and saw. Unfortunately for us, it was raining the day we went. Do you remember?
Yeah, but it was still, I'm sure it's going to show incredibly well because it's a remarkable place, what they did. What they did with this piece of land and
Yes.
turned it into this venue for, it's really just about getting married.
Yeah. It's
It
about
is.
getting married
It's like,
in a
what?
setting that will make your pictures gorgeous.
So you get
You know.
married there and you have your reception,
Reception there,
Yeah.
and you stay there as well.
And they
Oh.
built cabins. They built some cabins there, and you
Cabins, that's
That's
that
a
being
very
kind enough.
small name, yeah, for what these are, because they're really just beautiful, luxurious rooms, like very boutique-y hotel-like. One of them
Fun.
has glass all the way around it so you can see into the woods, and it's electrified so that when you flip the switch, nobody can see in, but you can see out.
No way.
And that we did that the last day we were there, and they said, "Oh, why didn't you stay here?" Well, because we stayed at the Pepin Inn.
Because nobody offered us those rooms, we would have taken those.
It's always after we need their help, right? It's like,
Lord.
oh, where were you
I
3
could
months
stay here
ago?
for 2 more days, I guess.
Right.
The truth is, when we were there for the site survey, those were just being built.
Yeah, they weren't done.
They weren't done at all.
They were
okay,
gorgeous.
so this is newer.
Yes, they're brand new. It was just awesome. And the nicest people run that with a very good vision. And again, they want to make a mark on the community in a positive way, and they're doing it.
And very smart that they have accommodations because they took a good look around the area and they're like, okay, we could get people here, except if you're going to come for a wedding and you're going to stay for a reception, you're not driving home.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the Pepin Inn, needs some competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He handled the
So
whole
we have a shout out, right?
We do. Thomas Rosansky from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. You are a fan shout out for our West Coast Wisconsin episode.
It was a
Thank
great
you.
episode. It was great. That was the west coast of Wisconsin. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye.
Loved it, Evan. Good job.
Hey, thanks.
Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. Proceeds go to help us get next season into production, so come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv.